There's many urban legends similar to this one, but basically, a sweet older lady would often do grocery shopping for the elderly or the injured at her church. And one hot day during the summertime, one lady asked her to pick up a few things and bring them by her house later on. Well, it turns out that her house was in a really dangerous part of Baltimore City, and the sweet old lady was kind of confused and didn't really know if she wanted to deliver the groceries because she was afraid. But she felt it was the better thing to do was to deliver these groceries and help this woman out. But there was lots of shootouts and drug violence and other illegal actions and scary things for an older woman to think about, even driving into a neighborhood of that, especially alone during the summertime. But she ended up doing it anyways, and she picked up these groceries and then proceeded to this woman's house. And as she entered the neighborhood, she noticed a group of really young hoodlums, I guess you could say, gathering at every street corner, maybe doing drug deals or beating someone up. She wasn't sure. So even though she didn't have air conditioning, she rolled up her windows as tightly as she could just to be on the safe side and suffered in the 90-degree weather. If not, it was hotter. So she drove all along. She was trying to find this woman's house, and she heard a really loud pop. And she felt a jolt in the back of her head. Like when she reached, she felt like an oozing mess almost. And she thought it was a part of her brain because she was old. She didn't have great eyesight. So knowing that, she thought she had been shot, especially in the area she was. So she turned around and raced to the hospital as fast as she could. Instead of doing the smart thing and calling an ambulance, she just drives herself there. So somehow she made it to the emergency room and had strength to walk in. But she told the attendant she had been shot. And immediately she was rushed back to the exam room. And doctors whirled her around nonstop asking her, oh, where's the gunshot? Since they had no idea there was no blood. But this older woman had no idea. They felt the back of her head where she said, oh, I was shot in the back of my head, right here, my head. And the doctors found a mess of like an oozing white substance in the woman that she had first noticed and thought was a part of her brain. Well, it turns out it wasn't a part of her brain because I don't know who would mistake white oozing substance from your brain because your brain is not like that. It turns out it was a can of Pillsbury dough for like crescent rolls that it had shot off in the back of her car whenever she rolled up her windows because she was afraid. It shot off from the groceries and went right back to the back of her head, and that pop scared her and made her feel like it was a gunshot because obviously she'd never been shot before in her life. She didn't know what it felt like. So turned out it was the dough. And in my opinion, this is obviously false because it's an urban legend. This kind of brain drain issue about people getting shot and not knowing they were shot or being shot in the middle of the night and waking up and not having any idea, and you go about your normal day activities and have no idea there's a bullet in your head. All this went around in like the 1990s. It was a big spiel. But this one isn't so believable basically because it's dough. No one's going to mistake Pillsbury dough for brain matter. They're not going to think it's blood. It might be greasy, but it's not going to be anything even near like the darkness of blood. And plus she'd be spewing out blood out the back of her head because it would be the back of her neck where she thought it was, when that you would almost just die instantly from that. But this sweet old lady from this church, of course, did not do that. And I mean, this story, her uncle swears that it happened, but when it passes through the grapevine and it's passed, obviously this could be seriously exaggerated, and it had been circulating since 1998. So, I mean, who really even knows exactly how long this is true? Or even, I mean, maybe this old woman did get shot at whenever she was driving through the hood. You really don't know, but there's always that sweet old lady from church that has like a crime committed to her. But this is not true. And the urban legends also has other things about the brain drain online that they can back this up with other stories similar to this. So that was my urban legend.